You mentioned something interesting there as well, like with this whole shift to SaaS tooling and the evolution of the tech stack and the different tools required to, manage this agile environment. Mm-hmm. Requires a new set of skills for CFOs or the finance team at large, with regards to the tooling and then the reoccurring, revenue nature of the business as well. So you've mentioned that titles matter, I think was one of the things that you mentioned. And what you meant by that was it reflects the different skill sets of leaders. Can you kind of elaborate on what what that profile looks like and the skill sets that look like for this kind of modern CFO or finance leader stepping into these high growth businesses?
Yeah, definitely. I think titles matter not only because they indicate skill set, but they also indicate the operational, call it system scaling maturity of a business, especially those that are looking to go on a high growth, typically a venture-backed journey. And what I mean by that is specifically, within the finance department today, there is a lot of noise around what titles mean and what it requires for which types of businesses when. So to clarify a little bit and cut through that noise a little, the different titles that do come about when you're looking to build out a finance department is one, there's the head of finance. There's also revenue operations. And then of course, there's different seniority attached to that revenue operations role. There's the VP of finance. And then there's also the CFO, which we call the modern CFO or strategic growth CFO. And the differences between each of these roles really boil down to a couple of things. One, it's their ability to command modern day SaaS tooling and systems. So your head of finance typically has not dealt with, subscription management solutions. They have not really worked outside of your core accounting or ERP solutions. They're very much used to managing business and financial costs and the liquidity around that cost infrastructure. Your revenue operations professional is typically someone who's very well versed in subscription management systems and also with data warehouse and BI visualization tools, because they need to implement all the processes associated with really maintaining data integrity, specifically around revenue and customers that drive that revenue. And your VP of finance is the one that, in a perfect world, would derive the insights that's coming out of all the different, core systems that you're using, accounting, CRM, subscription management, data warehouse, and BI, but also is super well-versed and experienced in being a critical business partner in a SaaS environment and in a business that has scaled across multiple rounds of funding. And ultimately, your modern CFO is one that understands also the funding and the corporate landscape. So who do you raise money from? At what point do you look at inorganic growth? At what point do you exit the company? The whole capital markets function is super important because it helps align internal stakeholders with external stakeholders and allows the business to continue to remain competitive, not only in the its own industry landscape, but also amongst the funding options that are available.
Yeah, you could have a whole session on the staffing of this org. I think it's kind of this intersection of strategy, decision making, technology. Working in an agile framework, being able to help the business adopt quickly and intelligently to change. Super interesting. And then I also heard someone mention this concept of a product finance person, which in PLG organizations is super interesting, right? It's a whole other game.